In this video, we're going to take a look at adding positive and negative integers. Let's take a look at this first problem. Negative 23 plus 55. The process we use for adding negative and positive integers is this. We first find the absolute value of each of the numbers being added. So I have the absolute value of 55. That's simply 55. Remember, the absolute value is how many steps away from 0 the number is. The absolute value of negative 23 is simply 23, because negative 23 is 23 steps away from 0 on the number line. Then I subtract the smaller absolute value from the larger. 55 is the larger absolute value. 23 is the smaller absolute value. So larger absolute value minus smaller absolute value. 55 minus 23 is 32. Finally, I look at the signs of my two numbers. 55 was positive, 23 was negative. The sign of the number with the larger absolute value becomes a sign of my answer. So it's got to be positive. Since 55 has a bigger absolute value than negative 23, the answer is 32, and I'm finished. Now I've shown more work here than you need to show either on your homework or on your assessment. You don't need to show this step here where you're finding the absolute values of the two numbers. This is optional. So I want to see if this is the problem I'd written out, negative 23 plus 55. You can simply write this step here, 55 minus 23 equals 32, and you would be finished. Let's take a look at this next problem. We've got 37 plus negative 68. Let's follow that same procedure. We first find the absolute value of the two numbers. So the absolute value of negative 68 is 68. The absolute value of 37 is 37. I take the larger absolute value, 68. I subtract the smaller absolute value. 68 minus 37 is 31. I look at my two original numbers. I had 37 and negative 68. The number with the larger absolute value is negative, so my answer has to be negative. So in the end, I know that 37 plus negative 68. I usually put these parentheses here just to keep the signs from crashing into each other, is equal to negative 31. So again, I've shown more work than I expect you to show. You don't have to show the calculation of absolute values. That's something I assume you just do in your head. I do want to see if this is a problem. 37 plus negative 68. I'd want you to write out this line here where you take the absolute value of the larger, subtract the absolute value of the smaller. Then I'd like you to take a look at the original numbers, keep the sign of the one with the larger absolute value. Just simply write down this answer. You don't have to repeat the problem here. So this would be optional. You certainly wouldn't be wrong for writing it down, but you don't have to write it at all. And this would be optional as well.